this
supposed
is
to
all
be here, but I think she'll be late.
That's what
Are these on?
Oh, so he's aware of it.
They are on, I think they're
Oh.
muted.
I just unmuted them.
All right, so, thank you everybody for coming. We're gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. It's, just turned 5:01. I don't know if time matters or not. We'll do a roll call real quick. Carlos Lopez is here. Crystal Pilkington,
Here.
Angie Curley,
Here.
Christy Rushing,
Here.
Luke Heidhold,
I'm here.
and Kayla is on her way, and I don't know if she's officially part of the board members yet, so I don't know if we need to add her to the role there or whatever. All right, so see, we have a quorum, and we'll go ahead and move to approve the agenda.
Hey, make sure you're speaking into the mic.
Oh, okay. We're just gonna need somebody to make a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the April 17th minutes of the park board meeting.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is that agenda or minutes?
So moved. All right, so we'll move into the next portion of our agenda for the director's report. Be you, Melissa.
Just checking my mic. You might want to turn me down a little bit because I'm kind of loud.
Amen.
Don't make me come over there. I handed them out right before I came. Sorry, I don't have it on the board, but I kept it pretty short and sweet today because I knew we were going to talk over the budget. Youth sports programs, we currently are in the middle of summer ball season. I actually just sent out a giant message of canceling the games just now because the radar continues to change and it's going to be rained out. So we currently have 4 teams in 4U T-ball, 7 teams in 6U T-ball, 4 teams 8U coach pitch boys, and 4 teams 10U machine pitch baseball, 2 teams 12U baseball, 2 teams 14U baseball, 2 teams 8U girls coach pitch, 3 teams 10U girls. They decided to do a hybrid kid coach pitch. I did give coaches the option even for baseball to do the hybrid. For the boys team, they just did decide to go with machine pitch with maybe introducing kid pitch later on in the season. And then we have 2 teams for 14U softball. We did see a decrease in numbers for softball or summer ball. We do have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, off the top of my head, 5 new travel teams that have sparked up, and I think a lot of people aren't doing dual. I know that Cree is doing dual, and a couple other people are still playing, but I just want to encourage people to play both because it's good for kids that don't get travel ball exposure to see kids that know the game and know how to play it, like as model kids. I think it's still good for them to get to see those model kids playing the games correctly. Moving on to grounds and satellite parks. Al Brown Park, the lighting project is complete and we have been using the lights for ball games. It's so exciting. I'm working in the concession stand for the Little League ball fields, and then I can turn the lights on remotely at Al Brown, and then I can turn them off when we're done. So it's very, very easy. They are super bright. They can be adjusted to any percentage of light I'd like them to be. So it's really nice, and I'm glad they're finally up and running. The concession stand at Al Brown, we are utilizing it 1 day a week when we have ball games out there. We have currently used it for soccer, flag football, and now baseball. So it's exciting to have that one up and running. Flood damage to Al Brown, repairs have started and are in progress. We've repaired the growing grass on the infields. They've killed it and they've reseeded and planted on the multi-purpose field. We're still waiting on the fencing to be fixed, but it's supposed to be in process. Salem City Park, Billy's Playground. The tile contractor has been replacing and repairing tiles. Tile portion should be completed by the weekend. I'm still not going to open the park until the complete project is done. And I haven't posted about the second contractor, and I really hesitated about saying it here because I just really don't want it to be public yet. We do not want people on that second portion that's being done. It is, it has to dry completely before people can be on it, or it ruins it. So,
chips.
they use a
The
glue,
rubber chips,
yeah, the solid surface.
Oh,
Yeah.
when it gets poured.
Yes, so they mix it by hand. They have a small, like a concrete mixer. And they put the glue in a wheelbarrow full of treated chips, and they go down, and it's almost like you do concrete, is how I've been seeing it, is kind of how they pour it and level it and all that. But they're doing a really good job. They came Tuesday, and they said they need 2 more days. And then after that, it'd be 24 hours for it to.
Did they pour?
They're doing it in sections, so
Oh.
like the first section, I got to put my feet on it, because he said 24 hours would be dry. He said, go ahead, you can stand on it. It's very bouncy, it's nice, and it looks very nice.
It is, I'm sorry, I should have went down and looked, but are you expecting, if everything just went swimmingly, it's 2 more weeks until that gets all complete, or what's the time frame for that?
So what's today? Today is Thursday, Friday. I don't know if they work through the weekend or not.
Okay.
If they work through the weekend, potentially we could be open on Monday.
Okay, but it's imminent, there's not any conversation of like trying to re-wicker the fence for half the park to be open?
I just don't want to encourage anybody there, because we still have issues of people breaking in even with the 6-foot fence.
Fair, no,
And I want to make sure that that portion that needs to be cured
absolutely.
has time to do that.
Especially if it's like, 2 months out or something.
No,
then it's a
I
different
foresee
story.
it happening very rapidly.
Cool.
I
That's
don't know what the rain will do.
Sure.
I'm hoping it doesn't rain tomorrow, so we don't
Yeah.
lose that day, but
I don't think it's
That's
gonna.
great.
it looks really nice.
Ah, that's good.
Another thing, I'll just make you aware, and I contacted our person that won the bid, which was all-inclusive Park and Rec. They subcontracted out the work to be done, and she ordered tiles to match, but the tiles that came in were black.
Yeah.
And I let her know that, and we should see some type of,
Reimbursement.
yes,
Good.
for that.
Yeah, I was wondering, that doesn't quite look like they were the same thing.
They are not,
And
they are
you-
black.
But weren't there some that were they're supposed to be the right color? I just thought maybe they were just,
We had some in storage.
oh, okay.
We had a
There's some
pallet
faded
full, and they
difference
used
ones,
those, and they actually, I contacted her too, because I was told we had to rip everything up, power wash everything, re-glue everything down, and they didn't do that, and
That's-
I wanted to make sure that, that
Get
she's like,
reimbursed
well,
for that, too.
that, yes.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask that because watching them do it, I was like, not taking up all of it.
Yes,
so-
but they've also assured me that, I guess before, all the tiles weren't seamed together with a glue,
Uh-huh. They are
and
now.
they are doing that on as much as they can while they're here.
It's great because there was stuff that were popped out completely outside of the flood, just over the years have had some corners pull up a little bit. And
Yep. So
maybe
they
that'll be
put glue
mitigated.
in and glued all the pieces together, and they've spliced a bunch of them, like if there were 2 tiles that were pulling apart, they would splice a tile and put half of another tile in to
Get it
make
done.
up for that.
That's cool.
They're doing a really good job, and they're very efficient. They work 10-hour days and been working really hard. They've been doing a really good job.
Yeah, good.
And then the red and green fields, we did have a 25-ton load of red shell delivered. The street department went in and put it down and smoothed it out and did a really good job, but it's still not deep enough. So we probably need another 25-ton load to finish out both fields. They're still playable, but they're just not how they need to be prior to. And we still have some fencing. They replaced a couple of the braces that were bent. They replaced those, but they haven't come and done the tying off and what is the word, the one on the bottom, putting the line on the bottom, the tension wire on the bottom. Alice Lou Craig Municipal Swimming Pool. The pool is up and running. We're so very excited. The liner looks really nice. We do have some issues with the AquaZip. My lifeguards absolutely hate it. They're glad it's broken. But the repair to it's gonna be about $2,500 just some new boots to cover the bottoms for safety purposes and a new safety mat is that amount. It's crazy. And I've looked for other options, and just those mats in general are really expensive.
What it?
Yeah,
The Aqua
zip
Zip,
line.
it's the
like
zip line.
that you come off
Oh,
onto the
okay.
pool.
Yep.
It hasn't, is it broken? Is it broken besides the
No.
covers and stuff? Like,
It's the fall zone on it.
okay, it's not the
not
pulley and
the-
stuff, okay. They made it sound like, when I was asking the lifeguards, but they probably
They
didn't know.
probably had no
Yeah.
idea.
Okay.
They just don't like it because there's a weight limit on it.
Mhm.
So,
You gotta sit there and try to judge what,
right, while you're
What's
watching,
appropriate or
but the
not.
people that want to use it the most are the ones that can't swim, and it's
Yeah.
deep, it's
Deep right there.
one of the deeper ends of the pool, and so they really have to watch it hard.
What's the cost for the actual, that product, that whole
Well, I think we
item?
were one of the first ones to have it, so we've had a lot of retrofittings, because there were a lot of issues at the beginning of it, so they've like redesigned it a lot of different times, so I don't even think they sell it exactly like that now. But even the rubber mat that they used for safety, it's thicker than a yoga mat, but
Mhm.
it wasn't made to come off and on, and it's like shriveled up to where it doesn't serve its purpose anymore. It's not safe. And so that's what we have to replace, and they're wanting to replace it with a step-down mat so that it goes over the grate and stuff,
Okay.
the drain. Let's see. We installed a new pump. I know we had put it in the budget to purchase a kiddie feature pump, but I wanted to keep using it until it just wouldn't use anymore. And we reached its capacity, and we were having issues getting it to run and stay on, and then it just wouldn't come on at all. We worked with Vaughn Pool and Spa, and they got us he drove to Kansas City for us and picked it up and had it to us on a Tuesday, and we were supposed to open on a Thursday. So they did a wonderful job, and it's a new type of pump that doesn't have to run at full capacity like our other one was, and it's doing a really good job, and it's running really well. And so we were happy about that. The construction crew also replaced the fence that goes around that. I know we had hail damage to it, and we were going to replace it, and Lloyd replaced it for us. We asked for him to help us make it breathable, because it gets really hot in that pump area, and he put a roof on it, and it made it kind of aerated for us, but it still looks nice. And that's helped a lot, because it's not getting as hot, and it's covered, because they said it would last longer now because it is covered. So that's good, that it's out of the elements. Creek erosion. We've met with several people. We even did a walkthrough with FEMA and their team at the creek. They recommended that we contact the Corps of Engineers. FEMA didn't recommend it. Missouri Department of Conservation recommended before we move forward on repairing it to contact Corps of Engineers. I believe that's what they're called, Corps of Engineers. And then after we talk with them, we could probably have a plan of action, but everywhere we've gone and talked to, they say we need to rock wrap the bridges with the big, 18-inch rock or whatever. And we have talked with the street department, and they can load and haul it for us and even install it for us, and at a cost of approximately $10,000 to help prevent further erosion, which I think is really important. Because with each rain, we're losing a lot of ground. Anytime it runs up or floods, it washes away. Pavilion rentals, we are still renting pavilions, but just a reminder, they call the admin office at 729-4811. Fence banner sponsorships, I don't know if you've been to games lately, but usually I have fence sponsors galore, and we have one on each field. I did the normal sending out emails and letters and contacting people, and we just didn't have much, and I hand-delivered a few, but I've been so busy with everything opening and all the stuff that I haven't been able to hand-deliver a lot of them. But I haven't had a big response with people doing fence sponsorships. And that is all I have currently for my report. Anybody have any questions for me?
I do. I know that previous years, I know that we have talked about the creek ditch along the ball field. And I know we can't put chemical in it because it's the spring creek to the water. I know we can't set on fire because, well, who knows what would happen. What can we do about that to prevent that from continuing to grow over? I know that it continuously becomes a topic about that, and I know that sometimes the bush hog's being used in other places that need to be mowed to keep safety for
They do
streetwise.
come and use the mowing arm to knock it down
Yeah.
about twice a year. I think if we rock wrap around the bridges, that would help tremendously.
Okay,
And in the other trouble spots, that will help keep that stuff down.
yeah. That's just been a huge question, being
Oh, I
on the
know,
field,
'cause
you know?
we,
And
we
people
get calls all the
forget.
time because it grows poison hemlock,
Yeah,
and little kids just think it's a flower.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I had to stop kids from like, don't make that, don't touch it.
yep,
But that's just something that I continuously being asked, and I'm like, I'll bring it up, I'll ask.
yep.
So,
I think the rock wrap and putting that down will help tremendously, especially the more trafficked areas
Yeah.
that kids want to be in.
do we know what that would look like or cost or?
I'm gonna have to get with, about $10,000 is what, he estimated, and that would be in the rock. And then we could also submit it to FEMA, so we
Okay.
need to be getting it done.
Perfect.
And I need to be contacting, it's partly my fault I dropped the ball, but contacting Corps engineers.
Cool.
But that's just around the
Popular,
walkways,
high-traffic
right?
areas.
That's
Well-
not the full length of it, right?
It's actually not the full length, but there's a couple of trouble spots that it's eroding more. So like by the Redfield scoreboard, it's coming in quite
Okay.
far. And there are some spots that it's eating away where the water runs off of the hill and comes into the creek. It's eating away and causing a low spot, and those are places. There's also a culvert that's in there that was concreted in, and it's eating in and around that, and they recommended doing that also. And then the sidewalk on the back side of Billy's Playground, it's starting to erode to where it's gonna actually eventually cause problems to that sidewalk. And they said that we should put it all the way to that sidewalk. Any other questions? Something that's not on my report too is that we're working with the fireworks committee to get the park ready for the 4th of July, and I'm really excited that they're gonna bring it back to the park.
We are really excited too.
Me too. That's memories as a kid. That's just where it was, and it was just so much fun with the death slide.
Walking distance for a lot of people in town,
Yeah.
so.
And we're hoping to have a lot of vendors so that it's going to be able to allow people to have a meal or some fun in between the parade and the fireworks. So it should be a lot of fun.
Is there any update on the FEMA, like what overall with the city FEMA's
They
involvement?
submitted one for the emergency portion of the funding. Stacy knows a little bit more about it. They did come down and do an evaluation. We spent a whole day at the park and Al Brown. And he gave us some suggestions too, because they had initially made each separate thing at the park a different claim, kind of, like a different project. And he was like, hey, I don't know who advised this, but I'm just gonna tell you that if you put it all together, it helps for the mediation part of it, because it has to reach a certain dollar amount in order to even qualify for that. So that was super helpful, because we had several projects. Some of them may not have been so costly, but if we put it all together, that really helps with our mediation part.
And did the insurance side of it, is it still moving forward, or the FEMA was one portion of it, and then the insurance side of it was a much smaller portion of it. Is that still progressing, or did they come to a conclusion?
The majority, if I'm correct, was not covered by insurance. There was a portion of the tiles that was covered by insurance.
Yeah, like 20% or something?
Yeah,
like
and
based on the
then-
flood mapping, yeah.
Then I think, the tennis courts, they paid a portion there.
But that's all complete, though? We feel like we're complete with the insurance side? of it?
Insurance has paid all that they're going to pay.
Perfect, that's
Yep.
all. Thank you. Good.
All right, if there's no other questions for Melissa on the director's report, we'll move into the bylaws amendment. And everybody should have the bylaws amendment on your packet. It's like, I think it's like page 3 or something. It's a amendment to Article 5 for our meetings. I don't know if you were able to familiarize yourself with this amendment, but it's basically so we can have some sort of way to communicate via email or Zoom or something like that. If, it can be kind of difficult to schedule these meetings and have a quorum. We've gotten by, but with the technology we have anymore, it should be something that we could do via Zoom, if necessary. Now, understanding that that's probably not going to be our default, but something that we can defer to if for whatever reason we can't meet in person, that it should be an option. And so if you haven't familiarized yourself with it, take a look at it, and then we'll need a motion.
If you pass it, we'll also have to go before the alderman to amend it.
Sure, yeah.
Your recommendation.
Understanding that everything we do here needs to go to the alderman for approval, we're just sending it up, so.
If nobody has any questions, I would move to approve the amendment to Article 5 in our bylaws.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so moved. Amendment to Article V will be sent up to the alderman for approval. Okay, very good.
Okay.
Yep. Do I need to say that? Okay, all right.
Yeah, the reason, I guess, just want to make sure, the reason why we did this is because of some of the imminent things associated to either the pool or even like the park. Like, there's times where it's hard to get everybody in to get approval, especially before maybe an alderman meeting, that might be imperative that we try to get this stuff, as quickly as possible fixed. We can't lay it all on Melissa to try to make decisions to get pushed to the alderman without first going through here. It's trying to mitigate some of that problem of it getting bottlenecked with these meetings. Because I don't think the intention of this is that, hey, let's approve budgets through email.
Right.
I think our intention is, hey, the park had a flood, there's major damage, we can do this to put a temporary fence up to keep people from getting hurt.
The alderman
Can we,
meeting tomorrow.
yes, can we do this? I think that's the intention of it. So I just want to make sure that it's understood, when you see an amendment to a section or an article that's a part of the bylaws, it sometimes can cause some heartburn. That's the logic of why. We want to make sure that we can be fast with things that we know are important, so.
Yeah, very good. Thanks for sharing, I appreciate that. Okay. Okay, moving into the budget review and approval. Again, that's gonna be Melissa, Tammy?
Yeah, but let me kind of go over a little bit of what we had put in. So I fill out capital improvement forms, and I send them up to Sally to review and finance to review to see some of the things that I put in it for whenever is our T-ball parking lot and our pool parking lot. I had, who was the contractor that was here, did the sidewalks?
Magi.
Magi. I had Magi come and measure and give an estimate of both the pool parking lot and the T-ball parking lot, and they said that although they are different shapes, they are relatively the same size. So we did some figuring of doing it all at one time, or breaking it out in 3 years. If we do it all at one time, it's one price. If we do it breaking it out 1 or 2, or 2 years or 3 years, those further out years will increase in cost due to everything increasing in cost. So they did put in the T-ball parking lot because it is very visible. A lot of cars park there throughout the year. Half of it comes from our budget, and the other half comes from the capital improvement funds. So I just wanted to show you that that had been put in for that, for some infrastructure, to be mindful of trying to keep our parks nice. So I'll let Stacy go over the rest of it.
Melissa, was that just a rough estimate on that?
He came out and
Oh.
measured and
And,
yeah, it was a verbal estimate over the phone, so I could have some numbers to kind of put down.
okay, but then you would go through the bidding process?
We would have to.
Okay.
Okay, so this first screen is just an overview of what the significant changes are to the parks budget. In terms of revenue, we are projecting to hold sales tax revenues as the same as what we bring in this year. This will actually will increase your budget line because I underestimated for this fiscal year. Now that the pool is open for a full year, the charges for services will increase. Miscellaneous revenues will actually decrease by $150,000 due to a one-time insurance payment for the pool liner that was damaged by hail and also some flooding that occurred at the park. As far as expenditures on personnel expenses, proposing a 2% COLA and a 1% merit. And then plus the pool will be open all year, so those expenses and supplies will increase. Minimum wage also increases to $15 an hour in January, so that will be an increase to the personnel cost. And then the general liability insurance increases slightly.
And a lot of that personnel expense are my lifeguards.
Did you have to increase in the quantity of employees, or was it just,
It's the
we're
same as
taking
we
in the
normally
COLAs
have,
and?
for the most part. I have hired more umpires this year, just to kind of, usually at T-ball I have one umpire per field, but we have more problems at T-ball fields than we do most other fields. I don't understand the why behind it, but I don't like putting people down there by themselves on one field, because I usually put the younger ones that are less experienced also, because it's pretty self-explanatory with T-ball. So I did hire 2 additional people to man those fields, but we run about 12 lifeguards. And then I did hire an additional manager, but the hours really haven't changed much. I do want to manage, like, we didn't always have a manager for pool parties, but I want an adult present for pool parties, because you just never know what people are coming in and what they're bringing and what they think they should be doing versus what the rules state, and not everybody listens to a high schooler, so.
Yeah.
Which is sad, because they have the authority, but people just don't listen to them. So, I do have an additional manager, and we will have additional hours with pool parties adding to that.
Sure.
But the big bulk of it is the jump in minimum wage. It's a huge jump with, I think I just filled out, I think I have 33 time cards during busy season.
Yeah.
How many pool managers do you have right now?
3.
3?
And they're not all there at the same time, it's just one manager at a time.
Right. So you didn't have 3 2 years ago,
We had 2.
2, and the 2 that you have, could they not also help with the night parties or whatever, or the evening parties?
They do, but I think it's too much to ask of 2 people to stay from 9:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock at night, every night.
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to be
Like, no, I'm just,
argumentative.
like, for
but-
our purposes, like, it was just too much for 2 people. And I have a coach that is hired, and he is gone quite often. So it became a lot for one person.
Okay. Just thought, if the 2 managers could help fill in on those parties.
They were.
Kind of eliminate some of your personnel costs. Because I imagine you're paying your managers a little bit more than your lifeguards.
Yeah, still I only have one person. It doesn't change the,
It's still the same number. It's
How
like,
many you were?
It's 3 people,
three people
but
dividing the same number of hours that 2
Yeah.
people.
Oh, okay,
So
got it,
It's not
okay.
like they have like health benefits or anything.
No.
So
Right,
it's-
right, okay, that
yeah.
makes sense. Okay,
If you had 20 managers, there's still the same number of hours, right? Except for they're just adding some more hours for the pool parties,
okay,
which I
Makes
agree
sense.
is needed, because something crazy is gonna happen. It's probably gonna be
At a pool party
a pool party.
right.
in the evening.
Yeah. It's good.
Okay, Brady, moving on. Melissa already touched on this slide, the capital improvements. She did request to have some security cameras, well-needed security cameras, some concrete work, and then she already mentioned the parking lot, so that's what's in her CIP plan.
Can I go back to the revenue?
Yeah.
On your sports fees, I noticed that they were anticipating them, they went down quite a bit in all the different youth programs. I know you said a lot of that's traveling league now, traveling,
We've had,
they're
yeah.
not doing dual.
Also, some of it, like, if I would have kept registration for summer ball open until the first day of games, I probably had 30 people reach out to me wanting to sign their kids up late. But there's a point that I just can't do it because it's just too much. Shirts have already been ordered, teams have already been drafted. And I don't know, I mean, they get really irate with me, but once I tell one person we cannot do it anymore, I stay the same, even if it's family members. I'm like, I'm really sorry, I can't add you. So I don't know if it's just not getting the word out enough, or if people just aren't paying attention, because I don't know, I put it on Facebook ads and the chamber billboard, and
Do you still send them to the schools?
yes,
Okay,
but I can't guarantee
know
that
they
they get from the school
distribute-
to the home.
okay.
That's, some teachers don't hand them out, is what I've been told, or schools don't, or,
Really?
I don't know if it's true, but that's, the kid could just not have put it in his backpack, or her backpack.
Mhm.
I have a question on the pavilion rentals.
Yes.
Why do we think there's a decrease in that from '24 till this year?
We didn't have the pool last year, so
Oh,
a
I
lot of
think that
times
affected
people.
parties.
Yep, and yeah. And this year I've noticed since the playground's been closed, we've not had hardly any
It just shows, I mean,
reservations.
just shows it's decreasing. I wonder if it's just people are using them and not reserving them? and just
I see
taking
them
best
still
odds?
using them.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I mean, they're first come, first serve, so, I
Yeah.
mean, that's the chance they take. I don't think our fees are unreasonable. They're,
Yeah.
I mean, $35 and $45, and it's the whole day if you choose.
It's just, I mean, decreased by half,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate.
But a lot of people would do like a family reunion, and you'd have the pool, and you'd
Yeah.
have the pavilions.
Park and all of
mhm.
that.
Okay, so on this slide is just the summary of the Parks Fund, and if you look, it shows the prior 2 years, then the next column shows the current budget. The next column is where we anticipate to end this fiscal year. The highlighted column, it's kind of hard to see, but there's, the next to the last column is the proposed budget for the fiscal '26. Then the very last column is the change between the current budget and the proposed budget. So on revenues, of course, you all know the main revenue source is sales tax. They also bring in revenues for charges for services, which is the pool receipts and fees for sports programs. We anticipate to end this fiscal year revenues at $947,000, expenses to come in at almost $1.1 million. The other uses down at the bottom there is $38,000. That is a transfer to the Parks Replacement Fund, which is used to set aside funds for future vehicle replacements. This leaves the fund in a deficit of $185,000. This is mainly due to the playground tiles that are being replaced due to the flooding. This was approved by you all and also the alderman and alderwoman to use prior year reserves for this expense. We are in the process, as you know, we are in the process of submitting that to FEMA. For the proposed '26 budget, we show revenues at $795,000. It is less than prior year, mostly due to the one-time reimbursement from insurance. Expenditures are at $784,000, and then again, that $38,000 going to the Parks Vehicle Replacement Fund. So as is, the draft budget is showing a deficit of $27,000. To balance this budget, you all can choose to find ways to reduce expenses or take from prior year fund balance. So if you look at the very bottom of the slide, you will see The estimated beginning fund balance is 513,000. So if we use the 27,000 as prior year funds, it drops it to 487,000. And yins have already been looking, but this next couple slides are just the details within each category.
Is it on the revenues that came in the 24-25 budget, I just want to make sure I understand, that of that miscellaneous, is that insurance money coming back in after we sent it out? Is that why that 177,000 is associated to the
Right, that's our claim that we filed for the pool.
pool liner?
So that's the revenue that we received from the insurance.
And then the payment for us to buy the pool liner is underneath the capital improvements of the 24-25 budget?
Mhm,
Okay.
Yes.
The $50,000 that was associated to the deductible on that, was that claim made as only a park claim, or did it include the rest of the city building municipality?
When they broke out that check, there was several properties within that check, and they broke it out. So not, the full 50,000 was not
It-
from Parks.
It was itemized to,
Mhm.
so that Parks took their portion of it. If
Correct.
it was, if we owned 80% of the claim, then we paid
Correct.
80% of the deductible?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It always gets confusing with the capital improvement because everything has to go into there when it comes in as an asset, and then you're like, who gets what? So you're saying we either need to decide to take from our previous balance or exclude from our expenses for next year. Now, if we exclude from our expenses next year, what would that look like in your eyes versus just taking from our budget? What would you take from, I guess is,
Well, we
what
have
I'm
the
trying to
one big project of the parking lot, and I think that's what really is taking it over. But do we just keep kicking the can down the
Right.
road? Because that's what we keep doing.
and that's why I'm asking is, would it be just, I don't want to say just painting, because every paint job is important. That's what I wanted to see is it as important as a parking job, or is it something that we could just, if we need to paint or do this? So that's why I was asking, because I'm okay with taking it from the budget. I mean, there's plenty there. I just wanted to see what expenses we would take it from if we did decide to cut
I
back.
think that's the bulk of it, and only half of that is really coming from our park and rec budget.
Gotcha.
The other half is coming from the capital improvement, and I feel like we as the park need to capitalize on that and get some of the infrastructure fixed and repaired, because we still have the road that goes through the park that continues to be patched. And then we have the pool parking lot that also needs to be maintained. Al Brown is gravel, and the street department does come out and, push the gravel around and kind of level it out sometimes, but, they get a lot of wear. There's a lot of traffic on those.
Yeah.
And I just want to state that it's not paving it, we're not repaving it, we're actually concreting it, is what was recommended.
Is there any way could you like pull up Google Maps just to show us what we're talking about with what parking lot we're talking about? Like, or maybe not, sorry. I just want to make sure I understand. We're paying, I'm all for it because we need to improve it, I
It would be
understand.
the
but-
entire T-ball parking area.
Okay, but does that go
That is
the road to
whole-
the pool then?
That is the
or-
whole front parking area as you turn into the park
That first left
on the
parking lot?
left. Mhm.
But that doesn't include like
The road.
the one past it where like there's handicap parking?
I feel like I told him the entire portion, so I feel
Okay.
like it's all of that parking up.
Okay,
But if you go up, the handicap parking is already concrete.
yeah, it looks, it's nice, but that's why I was like, is it that too, or?
Just do 1200 West Raleigh Road,
Yeah. Speed bump?
and then hit the view, the layers. Right there, yep. There you go.
footprint as what kind of, okay. Sure. And it was, you know, you're just asking a number, right? I mean, it wasn't like, hey, hard, fast, this is the quote that you're gonna go then try to move forward with. You've gotta go put it out for bid anyways, right? Okay. Okay, but that covers that front part of the parking lot there. That's kind of what I was after. When I read it, I was confused. I thought maybe we were doing something different. Okay.
And then
Good.
the CIP, I also wrote this whole section in also, but they put it in for,
Another year.
the future.
Okay. Supply expenses associated, like when we're comparing it to 2 years ago when the pool was open, it's showing about 8,000 higher. Is that associated just to chemical supply changes, you think, or?
I'd have to look, but we did, like, products are way more expensive than previous, and every year you don't know what the pool is going to require. It depends on what your groundwater has in it. Sometimes we use lots and lots of acid, sometimes we use lots and lots of chlorine, sometimes we don't use much of either. We use conditioner, so it's just hard, you just try to project
Yeah.
and predict. We're really hoping, and this will be the first year that we've used the new media and for backwashing, so we're hoping that that helps reduce. But I like to be safe and have it in the budget.
What's the total in the prior year funds that we have? At current state after the,
We'll start the budget year at 513,000.
okay, thank you, sorry.
Does this budget include if FEMA pays 75% back?
Okay.
So you've been
That would
very
only
good.
reflect against the
Right.
513, which we kind of already conceded
Mhm.
until hopefully we get
Right.
that back, so.
Correct.
I like the idea of knowing it's not there versus including it and not getting it.
But just
Yeah.
hopeful that 75% of that would be returned.
Ready? Make a decision?
Yeah, I guess I'll just make comment. I think it's imperative that if like this, as stewards of the park and rec, you know, we want, if we're gonna be able to spend 110,000 to improve that parking lot that is going to eventually cause problems and crumble, that we take as like with blinders onto everything, but looking directly at the parks, that I think it's an imperative project that we work on, especially whenever the other side of it's getting paid by, capital improvement from the city. I think security cameras are also imperative.
Needed.
I
Watch
don't think that, actually, if I was to be held to it, I would rather have the security cameras than anything on the list, because I don't think any of us like broken toilets or
Continuously paying
Yeah,
for things
stuff
that
painting,
people
so.
will keep breaking.
the concrete cap on the retaining wall right next to the armory, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I know
continue-
it's super annoying.
I pick up rocks continuously,
Yeah.
like the big 2-inch rocks off of the fields continuously.
I guess my only question on that is, that's a city product.
It's considered Parks and Rec.
Okay, that retaining wall, if it crumbles, it's Parks and Rec. The parking lot that goes around the armory is Parks and Rec.
That should be city,
It should
right?
be city.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I understand the logic of it. I see kids chucking the rocks all the time. I'm always for not having them there. But I also don't want to be saying, hey, that's our responsibility if we aren't 100% sure that it is.
I know street department does come and bring their street sweeper through there and try to help pick up all those rocks a
Okay.
lot of the time.
And then what's the concrete replacement in your drain? What's that?
At the, I don't know if you've been down to the concession stand area, there
Mhm.
was a drain put in the concrete,
Yeah?
and it was done in sections. It's settled, and there's a big lip on it. It needs to be replaced because it's a tripping hazard.
Just the drain itself, like it's a clean out?
They
or-
need to replace the concrete around it because there's a big. there's
Oh,
a-
the
there's just a-
concrete's
yeah.
shifted. Okay, okay. I didn't notice that, but good.
It's just a liability issue that we'd like to get fixed.
And I guess my only other question is, the $109,000 that's associated to the lease and debt, when do we complete this? How far are we on
It's the-
this loan?
It's the pool, correct?
2040 or 20?
I'm saying that.
I think
when
it was
we
a
get new pool,
30-year
They're gonna incur
30.
another one. You know what I mean?
It
Like,
I thought it
was.
was like 2040-ish, 2030 something.
It's 25 to 30-year loan is what it was. I don't remember
I was trying to remember the
exactly.
year, but I don't even want to say it because it's been so long since I've looked at them. Years.
It's a long time still.
They have it on I believe it's still on the website. There is a section to where it shows years under capital improvement meetings, I believe, where it has it broke down where each project will end in the budget-wise.
Okay.
Like every piece of equipment, things like that will be paid off, broken down into years.
Want to make a motion?
Yeah, after reviewing all of it, I understand that it's a request to expend, way I understand, $26,875 out of the prior year fund. Is that right? In order to meet that budget line. Well, of course, we want our budget to be perfect and not have to pull anything from what was prior. I think the time has come that we do take the money and spend on that parking lot and take advantage of it. With the understanding that, it still has to be quoted out, it still has to be bid out. Maybe we'll find that it's, comes in at a little bit different price, so. I make a motion that we approve the 2025-2026 draft budget for Parks and Recreation Board as proposed in the summary shown in front of us.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Okay, moving on to the next item on our agenda, which would be the appointment of officers. I think we tried to do this last meeting, but I don't think we were able to make it official, but now we are able to make it official. So I guess before we move on or go any further, is there any officers who no longer want to serve in their role as officers? Which would be myself and Angie.
Doing great, guys.
Keep up the good work.
Okay. Do you want somebody else to have a turn? I don't know. Or are you good? Are you happy with where you're at?
I'm happy with what.
Okay, and I'm
We're
happy
happy with
with
you
where I'm
there,
at.
Okay.
Now, we do have a position for a vice chair, or vice president of this board, as Caleb Shepard was the vice, and as he stepped down a while ago. I would like to nominate someone. However, I don't know if you guys have any nominations or someone that you might have in mind, if y'all want to discuss those things, or,
I would nominate Luke, personally, if Luke would accept it.
A second.
okay, all right. That was going to be my nomination as well, so Luke is the nominee. I guess now we need to vote.
Will Luke accept it first?
Will Luke
Do you have
accept?
time, Luke?
I was gonna say no.
All right, he said he'll do it.
So I would move to nominate Luke Heithold as vice president.
I will second that movement, and all in favor?
I thought we already did.
Well,
Aye.
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 Okay, so moved. Luke is now the vice chair. Way to go, buddy.
Good job,
All right.
welcome again.
Now, also, did we do everything that we needed to do in order for Kayla to
Yeah,
be?
boy, I've already been approved.
Okay, good. All right. All
By
right.
the alderman. We're official.
Nice. Perfect. Okay, so very good. Thank you all for serving on this Parks Board, and really appreciate it. And I know my kids do. Melissa, I think you're doing a great job. I really appreciate all the hard work that you do and making things available for our kids. And yes.
Can I make a side note about my sports banners? If-
Say that again.
Can I just, I'm gonna continue to try to find sports banners, but it'll just be prolonged a season. Does that make sense? So they didn't pay for this summer, but we can change the seasons to where they're still covered for the amount that we requested. Does that make sense? So if
Yeah,
people
for your
still want to
sponsorship
yeah,
banners?
if people still want to sponsor banners, and if you guys know of anybody that wants to sponsor a banner, please get them in contact with me. It's too late for this summer season, but we would just push it out to the next season.
Do we have feedback from businesses that have previously sponsored of like why they didn't this year?
I
Or
have not had time
Yeah.
to reach out to them.
Gotcha. While we're on the subject of T-ball though, and back to the parking situation, I just want to be clear, is that back gate open for people to exit out of? Because I don't think people are getting the hint, and I want to remind people, just being at the ball fields, the grass is soft. We've received a lot of rain, and I saw a car go off a huge dip Tuesday night of my game, and I thought it was bad. I didn't think they were going to get out. So don't drive in the grass. Park on the side of the street, but make sure there's enough room. You know, I just personally, if everybody would just park on the right side and exit out the back side, it'd be so much easier and safer. You can't see kids running in and out. They're running from the pool to the ball field. It's just dangerous. And slow down. Don't drive so fast.
There's an issue with that gate. It's not really an issue, but there is an ordinance that is listed about the gate can only be open during events. I feel like it needs to be opened during the 3 months of summer because it's just so busy in there, especially with the pool being right there. I don't know how we amend that, or if we can consider the pool being open an event, or what, but it's just so heavily trafficked that that back exit is very helpful.
I got a question, not to prolong the meeting or anything, but maybe this was long before I got here, but why is it necessary to have a gate?
The residents.
Residents.
Oh, okay.
And I
Okay.
get reminded, if it's left open, I get a phone call.
Oh, really?
So do ball games be considered an event?
Yes.
Okay, so
But-
if,
Going back, and making sure it's open is also another thing, because I got a lot on my plate.
well, you're parked on the other side by, yeah. Okay.
So-
It's just such a, I know it's a topic every year. When you brought up parking, I'm like, ooh, are we increasing? Is it gonna be a bigger park? You know, so I got a little excited.
There's no space to increase, because we can't,
Right.
I mean, we could pave it all the way to the pavilion and create another parking lot, but then you're usually losing green space, and you
Yeah.
lose a tree, and
Yeah. There's just several parking opportunities that do not involve parking in the grass to the field.
And trust me, I asked about covering that creek, because I hate the creek, but that's a big no-no, apparently.
In case it
Big
floods,
no.
I guess. That's all I have. Sorry to
No, you're fine.
bring on more.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Oh, yep.
I just wanted to say that we live right by the park there, and there was a family that came from St. James to come watch some kid play. And as we were walking up, Hannah was talking to him, my wife was talking to the lady, and she goes, "What's going on here?" I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, why do you have so many kids playing your summer sports?" And we're like, "Well, is it not like that in St. James?" She's like, "We don't have it like this." She said, it's incredible to see this amount and this big of a community come into the park. And she goes, "I've not really been to Salem very much, but I would have never guessed this from this town that you would look like this. So I was like, well, it's all me. No, I'm just kidding. We said,
That's great
we've
to
got a
hear.
good program. So I really think that, and I haven't been to all the other towns, but when people see the kid programs here, I think it's something that we should be pretty proud of.
Yeah.
Hang our hats on that. Not only the facilities are nice, but I think that's the jewel of it is the kid programs. They're
Yeah.
really good. Good job.
And to piggyback off of Luke, I mean, I have a kid that he played on my basketball team and now he's on my baseball team. He drives from Ellington just because he's learning the skill of the game. We have several people, when I was watching, because there was lag time between my games, they were from Bunker. And they just love the fact that they are gaining a skill that they can't get from their hometown. So I think what you're doing is tremendous. I think that your umpires, the ones that I've had on my field at least, they're educated, they're calm, they're patient, they're good with the kids. I mean, you're doing a really good job with the program. And I know that in your line of work and in the city in general, you guys don't get enough kudos of what you are doing and how you are changing the program and the city. So it's greatly appreciated of what you are doing, and sometimes it's overlooked. So thank you.
Thank you, you're gonna make me
Yeah.
cry.
And it looks so good. It always
Yeah.
looks so good. So, thank you again. Anybody else?
I just want to mirror what you said earlier, is to encourage parents to have participation with the city program. Because even though they do traveling, it's great to do city. I know our kids did both. They traveled and we participated in the city program. And it's a good way to give back to the community and, yeah.
And I mean, when you travel, you're not playing with these kids in high school.
Mm-hmm.
When you are doing the city sports and you're participating in them, you're playing with the kids you're going to be playing in an upper level and a high school level. So you're building that culture without knowing you're building that culture. So
Well,
Yep.
we just had 2 games on Monday, and then we played 2 games on Wednesday, and 2 of our players had extra practice because they played Monday, and they did really well, and they got all the hits in, and it's just extra reps for those kids. But it's such a good modeling for the kids that aren't experienced, and because they already know the game, and it just helps those other kids. Like in school, you have model students for some of the special programs and stuff, so they can model behavior or be the helpers, and I think it's really good for the kids that do know how to play the game really well to share that knowledge, because they just take it so much better from the kids than sometimes they take it from the adults, because they're like, oh, well, they do it this way, this is how it goes, this is how it works, and I can do that too, and it builds. So, I don't know if we need to do an article in the paper, or, you know what I mean, like, just to, I don't want to shame people for traveling by any means. Because it's a lot of extra work, and to take them to extra practices and then take them to city games too, and it's one more thing, you know, for busy
and just
people.
knowing the benefit of both, how it's going to benefit
Yeah.
both.
And I don't think people hear that story, like what you just said. I don't think people, even from my perspective, I don't think I have it fully laid out in that thought of, hey, the part of being the community is these kids that are traveling, you can, as parents and as families, you can serve the rest of the community by being,
You're building
elite
your high
athletes
school
in this program.
programs,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
if these kids don't know how to play and they don't know how to play well, then your high school sports are going to suffer from that.
Yeah, very good.
All right.
I would move to adjourn.
Second?
Second?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.